You have just a few seconds to make a great first impression when someone lands on your site. If you're an interior designer, make sure you're not making these 5 common mistakes that could be costing you your dream clients. Hi, I'm Kirsty. I'm a Squarespace website designer who works with creative businesses. And through work with interior design clients in the past, I've noticed a few common mistakes that they are making on their websites. So today we're going to chat through 5 of those mistakes and how you can fix them. Mistake number 1 is having no clear headline on your homepage. When someone lands on your site, it should be immediately obvious what you do, who you do it for, and what action you want the user to take. This information should be placed above the fold, so it's the area of your site that is visible before people start scrolling. You want the headline to be really clear and really represent what your interior design studio does. So that could be beautiful and functional family homes taking you from chaotic to calm, or minimal and modern home and office spaces. You can follow that headline up with a subheading, and in that subheading, I recommend including the areas that you work in most often. So typically interior designers will work within a city or a region or a few cities. Mentioning those in this above the fold area and in your heading or subheading is going to be really powerful for your SEO. And then finally, you want a button, so your call to action, that guides people to take the main thing that you want them to do on your site. So whether that's booking a call, visiting your portfolio, a really clear instruction on that button. So start your project, book a call, get in touch, something like that. Now, I know interior designers love to have that full width image with no text as soon as somebody lands on the site. And I understand this, the images are an extremely important part of your brand. But if you can find a way to combine those beautiful images with this headline, subheading, and button, then you'll be onto a winner. Mistake number 2 is displaying all of your projects in your portfolio. So it's not necessary to include everything you've ever worked on in your portfolio. Realistically, somebody browsing your site is only going to look at a few of your portfolio items before they decide yes or no they're going to work with you. I recommend around about 4 to 8 of your best projects, as that will be enough to showcase the range and the style of work that you do without overwhelming visitors. It's also important to think about the types of project you're including in your portfolio in terms of what you want to work on going forward. Of course, we all take on projects that are fine, but they're not the ones that really kind of light us up that we love working on. So try to curate the projects in your folio to just those that are the types that you would love to work on going forward, and you should find more of those types of clients will come to you with inquiries. So once you've selected your projects, in each of the portfolio items that you add, think of them as a small case study. Before you add the gallery of images that you'll be sharing, include a section at the top that has sort of simple facts about the project, so the area, the approximate budget, timeline, maybe the package of yours that they selected, what rooms you tackled, as that'll give a really good at a glance overview of the project. Then have a short paragraph to go along with that first talks about the pain points that the client had before they started working with you, and then specifically how you addressed those in the designs that you did, the work that you did, and that will really help potential clients see themselves working with you. And always remember on each of your project pages to include a button that links over to your booking page, your contact form. Mistake number 3 is not including enough text on your site. Interior designers tend to prefer image-heavy sites, but not having enough text can cause some issues. So number 1, Google can't really read images, although Google is getting more clever. Having text on your site, so headings, paragraphs, is really going to help boost your search engine optimization. And secondly, just for the user experience, not having enough information for people to understand exactly what you offer and what it's like to work with you can leave them confused and then moving on to a different designer. So some sections of text that I really recommend are your services page, really clearly laying out the services that you offer, what's included, or if you have specific packages, kind of running through how those work. You don't need to obviously write screeds and screeds of text, because as always, there's a limit to how much somebody is really going to read before they make a decision one way or the other. But just making things really clear for people is going to be really helpful for you. Second is to go through your process step by step. So this really helps to demystify the process of working with an interior designer. So thinking about what happens when you work with a client, from their initial inquiry, to your meeting, to booking the project, to working on site, to handover. That demystifying that process will help people to feel more comfortable with you, will help them to get to know you, and also get in touch to make that inquiry about the project. The last kind of recommendation for text to include on your site are starting from prices. So you might price each of your packages or services on a case-by-case basis, which is absolutely fine. But I think having either starting from prices or kind of example prices, so last year we worked on X project and it cost X amount, can just help to stop people getting in touch if you're definitely not in their budget. It also stops you having to deal with inquiries of people who are never going to be able to work with you, and that's okay, but it just kind of helps make that process simpler for you and the client. Mistake number 4 is forgetting about local SEO. So I've spoken about search engine optimization a little bit in this video already. And what it really is making sure your website is set up in the best way possible to be found in a search. So when somebody types something into Google or any other search engine is going to trawl through the websites and then serve up those it feels best answers that inquiry. So often interior designers, as I've mentioned, will work in kind of specific areas, maybe a kind of 50-mile radius from where they're based. So mentioning the areas you work in, or at least the area you're based in, is going to really help if somebody is just searching for an interior designer in my area. So places you can add your location or locations are in your heading, as I've spoken about that above the fold section. You can also have a kind of section on your homepage, a short paragraph that speaks about the areas you work in. This would also work well on an about page or your contact page. Another great way to do it is to add the location of the projects within your portfolio. Now, of course, we don't want the exact addresses to be out there, but whether that's the town or the area of a large town, that's going to really be helpful for Google and other search engines to start understanding where you're based and the areas that you do projects. Mistake number 5 is not optimizing your images for web. So as we've touched on, your website likely will be very image heavy, which is absolutely fine, but when you have a lot of images on your site, it can tend to slow down the loading of a page. Images taken from a phone camera or a digital camera will tend to be very large file sizes, and having lots of those on a page will make it very slow to load, which is not good for the user experience, and it's also terrible for SEO. So before you upload any image to your site, there are a few steps that you should take to make sure it is optimized. First thing is to just resize the dimensions of the photo. So if you plan to use it full width on your site, then 2500 pixels is the size you're aiming for. If it's anywhere else where it's going to sort of be half size on the page, 1500 pixels is ideal. You should also look at the sort of physical file size, if that's the way to put it. So how many megabytes or kilobytes your image is. Ideally, this should be as small as possible without compromising the quality. Around about 500 kilobytes as a maximum is a good kind of rule of thumb, but really as small as you can take it is best. I'll link below this video a few different resources that you can actually upload your images online, and it will both resize and compress the file size of your images for you. So that's a really good tip. Finally is renaming your images. So this is useful for SEO and also for accessibility. So screen readers will pick up on the file name of your image. What I recommend doing is describing the image. So let's say it is a warm family living room and then your business name. So for me, it could be kitchen renovation, Cursium design. So that gets your own business name in there and also explains what the image is of. Make sure that length of the file name doesn't become too long, sort of up to 10 words, it's going to work really well. Thanks for watching. If you find these tips helpful, please like and subscribe. If you're interested in working together on a new site, head over to kirstym.com where you'll find out more about my custom website packages, and I also have a website template specifically for interior designers.